Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is enjoying this day that the Lord has blessed us with on this earth. And so in the book of Mark, we left off lastly when Jesus was saying that there would not be, um, what did he say? No stone upon another that shall not be thrown down, when he was talking about the temple. And when they were on the Mount of Olives, Peter, James, and John and Andrew asked him privately, you know, when will this time come about? And so the the times towards the leading up to the Lord's day of his coming in the clouds with all the power and the glory. Um, he explained to them what things would occur, as though he also did that same thing, leading up to his death. Um, and he told them the things that would occur. So in chapter 14 of Matthew, it says, after 2 days was the feast of the Passover and unleavened bread. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how that they might take him by craft, and put him to death. So how they was gonna sneakily, apprehend him and do away with him. And so in verse 2 it says, but they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people. And being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment and spikenard, very precious, and she brake the box and poured it on his head. On verse 4, it says, and there were some that had indignation within themselves and said, why was this why was this waste on the ointment made? Maybe I need a little bit more coffee. So they were upset that this expensive oil was used on Jesus' head. The some of them, doesn't say who all, it says some were indignant. Verse 5, for it might have been sold for more than 300 pence and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. And Jesus said, let her alone. Why trouble ye her? And she have wrote a beautiful deed on me. Verse 7 says, for you have the poor with you always, whosoever ye may do them good, but me you have not always. So he's saying, like, I'm not here I'm not about to be here, and the poor are going to be with you always. So you have time to do good to them, but this is my moment. Verse 8, that's the way I understand it. Verse 8, she have done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burying. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she have done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. And indeed it is. We're reading about it. Jesus understood that this lady was anointing him, preparing him for, because it was getting close. And all of a sudden, this lady did this. And so, and he was, he had already let them know beforehand that he was getting ready to be betrayed. And so, yeah. And maybe some of them just like, didn't hold this, like saying how, and we all with you, and, nobody's going to come grab you and things like that. 9, verily I say unto you, whatsoever. Okay, so her testimony was definitely written and documented, as Jesus said. And in verse 10 it says, and Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went unto the chief priests to betray him unto them. And when he had heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. And he sought how he might conveniently betray him. So when he went to them, they were glad that somebody in his camp, that, and and I'm just putting it in my words, somebody in his camp who is eat with him, walk with him and everything, is coming to betray him. Who knows his moves and everything. Um, verse 12. And the first day of the unleavened bread, when they had killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, where wilt thou that we go and prepare that mayest eat the Passover? And so that was the time where they would sacrifice the lamb, like back in Exodus, when they had to put it on the doorpost that began the Passover. And it was something that was celebrated continuously. And he sendeth forth 2 of his disciples and said unto them, go ye into the city. And it's like, that was a freedom time. And when the going back to that time when death came, but because of the blood that were passed over, and it was freedom. It was the final thing that was done for Pharaoh to let them go. And so, how, many people, we have these traditions now, like Memorial Day, 4th of July, and all that stuff, like these things. So people celebrate things, and this was a celebration of as given to, that they will remember, who brought them out of Egypt, who brought them out of bondage, and how they were saved. So that's the way I understand it. But I encourage you to read Exodus for yourself and get understanding for yourself. And I assure you that If you read Exodus 5, 10 times, you'll be enlightened by more wisdom and knowledge that the Lord will give you, because his understanding is like nothing of this world. And when it's given to you, it's a very precious treasure. So, and he sendeth forth 2 of his disciples, and saith unto them, Go ye into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him. And whatsoever he shall go, he in, say ye to the good man of the house, the master said, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he will show you a large upper room, furnished and prepared there. Make it ready for us. Predestined. So, and this guy, he knew. He knew what he knew, you know. And how he knew it, I don't know. But he knew. And so this was already set up and prepared for them, the upper room, for this specific day in that time. Verse 16, and the disciples went forth and came into the city, and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And in the evening he cometh with the 12, and as they sat and did eat, Jesus said, Verily I say unto you, one of you which eateth with me shall betray me. And they began to be sorrowful, and to say unto him one by one, Is it I? And another said, Is it I? And he answered and said unto them, It is one of the 12 that dippeth with me in the dish. The Son of Man indeed goeth as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Good were it for that man if he had never been born. So it's better for Judas Iscariot to never be born, because of the betrayal that he did, that he took part in. And as they did eat, Jesus took bread and blessed and brake it and gave to them and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave unto them. And they all drank of it, and said unto them, This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. So he said, This is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. And so, I'm understanding this the new lamb. You had Exodus, it was the lamb that they had, sacrificed and used the blood, and they also ate of it. And for death to pass them over when death visited that area. And so this blood, this body, the New Testament, the final sacrifice, the most purest. Because what did it say? For the rise of the third day. it say? Where did it say? Well, we'll read it. So, verily, in verse 25, verily I say unto you, I will think no more of the. Oh, it said, I will drink no more of the fruit of the wine until that day that I drink it new in the kingdom of God. So I told y'all, celebration that is coming for the new kingdom. So, the Lord refrained from this, and He longs for that day where this celebration will, come about. So, yeah. And when they had sung hymns, they sang hymns. They sang. When I said sang, but they sang hymns, and because there's always singing folks, right? They went out into the Mount of Olives, and Jesus saith unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered. But after that I am risen, I will go before you in Galilee. And so he was saying that him being the shepherd of the sheep, the disciples, the sheep. So they're no longer gonna, because it's time for him to leave the earth. His time has come and it's near, and he's telling them that. And he said, you guys gonna just go and be scattered, because it's gonna be, I'm not gonna say what it's gonna be, but I'm like, that would be devastating. And so it takes some time to, digest, you know, even though you were forewarned, as though we are forewarned of signs of the times of the ending, of the end times. And so, but this is what Peter says. He said in verse 29, although all shall be offended, yet will not I. He's saying he ain't gonna be offended by it. He thinks that, it appears that he thinks he's strong, and he's not gonna be offended by this shakedown that's gonna happen. In verse 30, Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this day, even in this night, before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And let me tell you, it just kind of, this right here kind of just like, to me, it seems like when you say certain things that you will not do, or I would never do this, I would never do that, and you end up doing it. Like, hold your peace. It's better just not say that. And if you do, maybe say, I hope I do not do that, And because I won't tell the situation. I'll maybe give this testimony, you know, um, later on in life, if God willing. But I remember saying something that I would not do and I didn't want to do. And I ended up somehow in that, going through life, I ended up somehow in that very situation. So be careful with your words. It tells us about our tongue. So Peter, he spoke like, I ain't gonna never rain on. Well, and it came to pass as we read, as we get closer to that time. But he spoke more vehemently, if he should die with thee, I will not deny thee in any wise. Likewise also said they all. And they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. And he said unto the disciples, sit ye here while I shall pray. And he taketh with him Peter, James, John, and began to be sore amazed and to be very heavy. 34, and saith unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch. In verse 35, and he went forward a little and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, that the hour might pass from him. Verse 36, and he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. So even though he reaches this point where the time is very near to its end, and that he became very exceedingly sorrowful. So in verse 37, and he cometh and find them sleeping, and saith unto Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Could not watch 1 hour? 38, watch ye and pray. Watch ye and pray. We just went through that when he was talking about the signs of times. He said his instructions were watch ye and pray. Watch ye and pray. So are we supposed to be sleeping? I'll be watching and praying. Lest ye enter in temptation. Lest ye enter in temptation. I'm just thinking just bamboozled by the devil. He's throw one over on you real quick because you sleeping and slumbering, you not watching and praying. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. The spirit is always willing, but the flesh is weak. And you may fall into temptation. That's what he was explaining to them, that, the flesh is weak. And if anyone understands that, these fleshly desires that, can, be, how would you say? Let's just say very tempting. So do you give in to temptation, or do you fight that fleshly desire and get strength from the Spirit? Who's the Spirit? The Holy Spirit. So again, he went away and prayed and spoke the same words. What was those words? Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but thy will. So he said, nevertheless, what I will, because my will could be I could walk away, but my will is not what I came here for. He said that many a times. He said, I came to do the will of the Father. And so the will of the Father had to be completed. And again he went away and prayed and spoke the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, neither was they had to answer him. You know, I was just, kind of just thinking about the love, love thy Father with all their heart. And so, if you do that, will you be willing to do the will of the Father? And so in 41, and he cometh the third time and saith unto them, sleep on now, and take your rest. It is enough. The hour is come. Behold, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise up, let us go. Lo, he that betrayeth me is at hand. So he's like, let's go. But in verse 43, and immediately while he yet spoke, cometh Judas. Here comes Judas. And who's with him? One of the, we know he's one of the 12. Who's with him? A great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. And he that betrayed him had given them a token. What is a token? A signal, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same as he, take him and lead him away safely. So he said, I'm going to give him a kiss. Judas gave him a kiss to signal that he was the one that they needed to apprehend. And soon as he was come, he goeth straight away to him and saith, Master, Master, and kissed him. And they laid their hands on him and took him. One of them that stood by drew a sword and smote the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And when, he gave him the kiss, and I think it's in Matthew where he said, Judas, you betray me, my friend. So let's see. Well, I won't go to that because I need to, oh my goodness, the time, and I was meaning to finish this up. Okay. Let me just actually stop right here because I don't want this video too long, but so it said that one of them had struck a man and cut his ear off. And in verse 48 it said, Jesus answered and said unto them, are you come out as against a thief with swords and with staves to take me? I was daily with you in the temple teaching, and you took me not, but the scriptures must be fulfilled. So yeah, it was different, kind of like, the people and everything was there, and now nobody's there really, and it's just, him, and it's like, you need all these people to take me? Huh? All these people take one One person, you know. And have he ever even showed any violence his entire time where he's up in synagogues and stuff preaching, and this is how they do this shakedown. So anyway, I hope that you have learned something today. I most definitely have learned quite a bit. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Continue to read. And definitely, read Exodus, when Moses um, and Aaron brought them out of, and I was trying to think of, because it's been a while, and I like to be correct on these matters. um, since I read Exodus, I think that it probably started like chapter 1 through, I think maybe 13, but I think by chapter 13 there was out of there. But because in 12 it talks about um what he would do. In Exodus 12:12 it says, "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord." So this was and then verse 13 he said, "And the blood shall be to you for a token, a signal, upon the houses, a sign, a token, sign, where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt." And so this is what it was. And it said in verse 14, "And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eat of leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, thy soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation." So that's, what, occurred in that's the Passover, and also called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And there's other celebrations and stuff like that, and it took me like a long time to really just kind of grasp it and everything. But it was during that time when they brought out of Egypt, and death came and took the firstborns of the Egyptians, and the their firstborn and the animals, and also was a judgment unto their gods. So that's what it says. And I will, until next time.